G'day gang, just a quick disclaimer, Adrianne had a few technical issues with recording this episode, but don't worry, you're probably not going to notice a difference, especially with the audio version. The audio version, you'll probably barely notice a drop in quality. With the video version, you might just see a few glitches, a few pixels around her face from time to time. We've taken precautions to make sure this doesn't happen again, and hey, cut us some slack. We're a brand new podcast. This is literally one of our first episodes. But that being said, I'm still very proud of this episode. I think the quality is still very high, very listenable, very watchable. So we hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for your love and support so far. Enjoy the episode. On this upcoming attractions episode, we've got trailers for Ambulance, Uncharted, Lightyear, Tiger King Part 2, and House of Gucci. And also movie discussions for The Guilty, Pig, and Jungle Cruise. All this and more on upcoming attractions. And we're back. We are back here at upcoming attractions for another action-packed episode. Let's get right into it. First of all, I'm Matt Vella. I should say that. I should probably say my name. I'm Matt Vella, and introducing my co-host today, I'm here with Adrianne Amita.
I'm Adrianne, and I like Attack on Titan. So that I would mention that. Yeah.
Okay. Anime girl. Okay. We just discussed we won't cover Cowboy Bebop today, and now you're all like, look at me, I like
I'm
anime.
really not. I just specifically like this one, but I thought some people might notice, so yeah.
I'm the creator of that also did Death Note, and I'm obsessed with Death Note. I had a problem collecting Death Note stuff.
Problem?
I once owned close to $1,000 worth of Death Note stuff, and I said this is a problem, and I got rid of it. I was too much. I knew I was addicted. And then I saw the Netflix movie, and then all of a sudden my addiction went away. Ladies and gentlemen, we also joined back once again in the hot seat, Jesse Highland. Jesse, how are we?
Good, Matthew. Thank you. Hey guys, how are we going? I know next to nothing about anime. This is Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah,
I know a lot about Dragon Ball Z, but that's about it.
Are you into the new series, the Dragon Ball Super?
We don't talk about it. Nah, look, I haven't really watched it, to be honest. I watched the two movies they did, and they were all right, but I just like that, like the original Dragon Ball Z,
the nostalgic sort of stuff.
Yeah, mate, the voice actors.
You would obviously have loved the live action one then.
Oh
yeah, I was thrilled by that one. Yeah.
Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, I've interviewed the screenwriter of Dragon Ball Evolution. He's actually okay. First of all, he's happy to talk shit about it. He feels that his original script wasn't done justice, and they apparently took that apart. But also, he's a pretty solid dude.
I saw
we're
it.
Facebook
It was
friends
really,
now.
really good.
Yeah.
It was a great interview.
I think I did a good job. And if anyone wants to hear that, it's on Midnight Double Feature.
The thing about a Dragon Ball Z movie is you need an insane amount of money, because it's so visual effects heavy that unless you just get it perfectly right, to get it perfectly right, you're just going to need a lot of money.
It's a really hard thing to do.
It's just way too hard.
Yeah.
I always say Man of Steel is the best Dragon Ball movie ever made, because that last fight scene feels so Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it feels like the closest I've seen to a Dragon Ball Z fight.
Yeah, it's like, this is what it needs to be. But also, I actually said that in my interview with him. I was like, the problem I think with writing a Dragon Ball Z movie is that there's too much to draw from. When you think about it, most of the best storylines from Dragon Ball don't involve the Dragon Balls.
That's actually really
to a major
true.
extent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's mostly, and there's so many characters, most of them do nothing. You could take away half the characters and you get rid of Tien, Yamcha, they don't do anything. Krillin even.
They just die. They just
die and they come back again. And it's they just die and come back again like it's Mortal Kombat. And as a guy, one of my favorite character designs, I love Tien. I wish he was given more to do. And it's hurtful to be a fan of him because he just gets to do nothing.
Well, it's because when they all turn Super Saiyan, they're just too OP for the human characters. So they should have nothing to do.
The show would be a lot more condensed and would probably be more confined if they could do that. But they refuse. But also, dinosaurs exist in Dragon Ball Z. They just exist. They don't explain it. They just go, no, dinosaurs are a thing here. But look, besides Dragon Ball Z,
the media was never a thing.
Yeah.
The media never landed on Earth.
but besides Dragon Ball Z, guys, what have we been watching? Let's start with 80. Have you been watching anything new since last time?
Yeah.
Don't say Midnight Mass for the 5th time.
I won't.
We are this close to becoming a Midnight Mass fan cast. So
Totally fine.
anything else besides that?
On that note, so Kate Siegel, who is the lead female in Midnight Mass.
God damn it!
I'm sorry that you like walked into this one, but I just watched 2 nights ago Hypnotic, which is a brand new Netflix original. I'm pretty sure that she is contracted to do a bunch of Netflix pictures because that's sort of what it seems like now. Her face is it's sort of everywhere. But
Netflix get in these zones where they just get an actor and they're just like, you're going to be in everything for the next year. Like, I remember there was a phrase like Machine Gun Kelly was in like everything. Back to back, he was in, I think it was like The Dirt. Then it was.
I had no idea about that.
Oh yeah, he played Tommy Lee. He was good. And apparently that's how he met Pete Davidson, who's just now his best friend.
Oh,
but yeah,
that's cute.
He was in The Dirt. He was in Power, and he was in Bird Box, and I think they all came out like pretty close together. And there's a few actors like I feel like even those Stranger Things kids, they're popping up in everything, especially on Netflix. They love when they love an actor, they really keep them, don't they?
They really, really do.
But go on, sorry.
No, it's all good. So Hypnotic was basically it's a thriller, a little bit of a psychological thriller where her character is in a really downward slope and her friend recommends her a hypnotist. But once she starts seeing him, things just turn for the worst and you have to unravel what he's sort of done to her. It was pretty good. It was a refreshing concept and I really like her as an actor. I think she's really captivating on screen. She also reminds me a lot of Angelina Jolie. But like a really sort of a softer version. But it was pretty good. I think if you want a thriller that's going to give you something a bit more fresh, check it out. I did have a few moments where I was biting my nails as you get closer to sort of figuring out what's going on. But it was really good. And it was directed by a guy called Matt Angel. He did a Legends of Tomorrow. So he sort of has had some like action, a bit of like fast-paced experience from that, which you can tell he's sort of merged into Hypnotic. So I'd probably give it a 7 personally.
Legends of Tomorrow, when that show first came out, I was so over the moon because I was like, oh, it's like an Avengers TV show. Like they got the whole superhero team. They did these cool shots. And I was like, this show's going to be the best show of all time. And that really changed over time.
That's a really high bar to set for yourself.
Yeah, I was so deep in the Arrowverse at that point, and it had such a strong start. Like I haven't seen it in a few years, but I also kind of don't want to. But it had the first I think couple seasons are pretty solid. Anything else that's worth mentioning?
That's my forefront film right now.
What about you, Jesse? Anything new on your radar?
I watched You season 3. I saw the first 2 seasons. The first 2 seasons were quite good. And then I started watching this one, and it started off really, really well. And then for a few episodes in the middle, it kind of dragged. And I'm like thinking, okay, where's this going? Like, it's not. And I was kind of falling out of interest with it. And then like in like the last couple of episodes, it like got really, really good, and it wrapped up really, really well. So it was good. Like it was just the middle of it was just a bit like it dragged a little bit. Like you could tell they're like trying to fill a little bit of time in that middle part, which sometimes happens with TV shows and seasons. Like they don't have, they've got to fill up story in like the center where there's not a lot going on.
That really happens a lot with like network shows. Like I'm not sure if You is a network show or not, but like the ones that like 20 episode runs, it's like the middle part. It's like they're really chugging along to
Yeah.
pad it out. My girlfriend watches You. I watched bits and pieces. Most of the third season. It's an alright show. I think it's not bad. Like there was
Have
this
you
one
seen it?
episode. I've seen bits and pieces. So I've seen a few episodes from season 3. There was one episode that really grabbed me. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Was it the first one?
It involved a threesome.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
Swingers
yes,
couple.
yes.
A swingers couple.
Yes,
A foursome.
yes.
And
yes.
it just went down
Yes.
a path I didn't expect, and I
Yeah.
thought it was really exciting. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the plot is this coming from a guy who's seen like maybe 4 episodes really far apart.
The first
But,
season's really good. You should watch the first season for sure.
In season 3, it's about he's with a girl. He's trying to stop killing, but his girlfriend keeps killing. And he feels like if he doesn't give her enough attention, she becomes a psycho again. Is that right?
Wait,
Something like that?
have you seen it, Adrianne?
I haven't. I watched season 1, and to be honest with you, I thought it was pretty damn flawless to the point where if they kept dragging it out because the viewership is really strong, I thought it would dip. So I just stopped
still
it
got-
at season
don't-
1.
Yeah,
And
it's
Don't
still
spoil. Don't do any spoilers, by the way.
it's still got a good story. Like it's still got a story there, and I love Joe Goldberg, the main character, because he just reminds me so much of Dexter, and I love Dexter.
I'm
So, 'cause
glad
he's
you
got-
said that.
'cause- because he's got like that inner monologue.
Yeah,
You know, that
I
Dexter's got,
told
and I
my-
love it. It's just
but doesn't
I was
Dexter
saying-
kill bad guys?
yes,
Yeah,
Dexter,
yeah,
Dexter kills
but-
bad guys. Joe Goldberg kills
He
like
just kills
whoever.
anyone.
Yeah.
Um,
No. Hear me out. You, from my limited experience with it, you is, hey, mum, can we have Dexter? No, we have Dexter at home. And then you look at Dexter
Oh
at
my
home, and it's you. That's what you is to me. Like it's a very similar tone.
Yeah.
Except instead of being more romantic, Dexter's just a bit more playful. But they both got the inner monologue. They're both serial killers. Like you, without a doubt, took inspiration from Dexter to some point. It goes another direction than Dexter. Like Dexter's a bit more serialized, but there's definitely a lot of overlap. So if you're a fan of I think you would definitely love Dexter and vice versa.
Well, Dexter's very mythological and he plans all his kills out, whereas Joe's just super impulsive. Like he'll just kill people just
Right.
in reaction to something that's been said or been done, or So
Brutal.
But season 3, that's kind of like the gist of where it's gone, Matt. It's so he's with someone now. They have a kid together, and she's. I don't know if I should say this because Adrianne, you're not up to date.
No, it's okay. As long as you're not going to spoil it.
It's not a season
for
3.
everyone,
It's not a season 3 spoiler. It's a season 2 spoiler. So I don't know if.
No,
Hold on in. Something's changed.
something's changed.
Just for any
I've seen
listeners,
the
I don't wanna spoil it
trailers
for
and
listeners.
stuff. Like it's
Okay.
not like I don't know what's going on in it.
But-
But you're on the right gist, Matt. You're on the right gist.
Okay. Yeah. I just we're not into spoiler territory yet, so I don't want to ruin any surprise for anyone.
What about you, Matt? What have you been watching?
Oh man, I've been watching a lot. Week by week, I've been watching BMF, Black Mafia Family. That is in Australia. It's available on Stan. It's based on a true story, like loosely based on a true story. Like every episode starts with like a disclaimer, and it says, a lot of this is urban legends and myths, rah rah, and then it says, but a lot of this shit may have actually happened. And it's like, that's cool.
Okay.
But the show, if you're into crime, especially like gangster hood crime, Black Mafia Family is really well done. It takes place, I think, in the 80s. But I feel like what I like about the show is they don't milk the 80s for nostalgia. It feels very authentic. It feels very real. All the actors, I don't know any of them. I haven't seen any of them in anything, but they're all really charismatic. So
That's awesome.
they're either really well directed or really well acted. Either way, it's really got me. I believe it's produced by 50 Cent.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything else he's done. I know he did. I think was it called
Power?
No, not Power.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Power.
Power. So I might check Power out after this season's done because I'm really into this.
He came out
Very
and
serious.
and said that he was really seriously disappointed when Power was not nominated on the awards train, because he really takes what he produces seriously.
I think 50 Cent in general, he's got that battle rap energy about him. He's very competitive, And like, 'cause even like, I think even with his music, like everything he does, he's so competitive. My favorite thing ever. Like, I do not like encourage bullying, but him bullying Floyd Mayweather, he went through a period where he was like, like he said, like during the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, he was like, fuck the bucket of ice. If you can read one page from a Harry Potter book, I will donate $1 million to charity. Because saying that he's so dumb. And like he went on some talk show, I think it was like Jimmy Fallon talking shit about him too. And oh my God, I think it was Floyd Mayweather. It was, but anyways, it was just so funny. He's a cracker. But Black Mafia Family is a very serious show. And my favorite thing about it, I'll say, is they show how the crime, because they're like teenagers or early 20s or something, like selling heroin and crack and all that. But it shows how it affects the family. And the family, like, they really struggle and they have different opinions. And it feels very real. So far, Snoop Dogg has been a priest, which was interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I heard Eminem is going to appear as a character later on, but that's a stunt casting. Like, they're not the focus of the show. It's a really good show. But I got one more show that I think is worth mentioning. One that I love even more. Very different. On Netflix, I binged it in about 2 days. There's an animated comedy called Inside Job, starring Lizzie Kaplan. Who is one of my favorite comedic actresses. And this show is so good. I love a good animated comedy, but I'm also very picky with them. Inside Job is about a shadow government that controls everything. So, and in this show, every conspiracy theory you can think of, it either exists or it's addressed. So yes, they fake the moon landing. They have their own studio where they kidnap Stanley Kubrick to do that. The guy who shot JFK is a guy whose name is Grassy Knoll. There's the only thing that's not true. Like there's Bigfoot. There's
what about 9/11?
They haven't brought up 9/11 this season, but they did say the only thing that isn't true so far is they said flat Earth exists. Flat Earth they made up as a dare. Because this one guy was like, it's so dumb, no one would ever believe it.
I love that.
And the joke to the whole thing is like, for the last time, the Earth's not flat, it's hollow. We just don't go to the edge because that's where we keep the capsule that unlocks all the demons and stuff from Hollow Earth. So it's like, it's even more ridiculous. But it's all about, if you're into like if you're into Joe Rogan's podcast or anything about deep state or conspiracy theories,
Horst Wormer.
all that stuff. This show it's smart, it's funny, it's witty, it's stupid. And if you're into anime, if you're into like, imagine Men in Black as a workplace comedy with a bit of Rick and Morty influence and a little bit of like political commentary too. That sounds actually really good. Yeah, look, I think the only problem with it is that a lot of the jokes might go over some people's heads because if you're not up to date with pop culture, there's some stuff you could miss. But I think the show has a lot of legs. I think it's really funny.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah. Besides that, I've just been playing video games. I finished Metroid Dread on my Nintendo Switch, which was very hard, but I enjoyed it. And I just bought the new Guardians of the Galaxy game. So,
oh wow,
I'll tell you all about that once I finish that. Anyways, that's it for this episode. No, I'm kidding. Okay, let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get into our trailers for today. Excuse me.
You are excused.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 trailers. Spoiler alert, we are not going to talk about Cowboy Beebop. And the reason is, as we sort of hinted earlier, while it looks great, and I love John Cho, none of us have seen Cowboy Bebop. And I feel like for us to give our expectations and opinions on it, it might not be fair because the number one selling point about this trailer, from my understanding, is how authentic it is to the anime. And for people who haven't seen the anime, I feel like, we're just going to say, oh yeah, looks like Speed Racer or
exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So let's watch it first before we say anything. So let's talk about, here's a good segue. Let's talk about something based on something we are familiar with, and that is Uncharted. Before we get into this, I just want to know, without talking about the trailer, what are our experiences with the Uncharted franchise? So, Jesse,
Yes.
how many have you played? Which games have you played? How familiar are you with Uncharted?
I'm fairly familiar. I wouldn't say like I'm a diehard fan of it. I've played the second game. I've played the third game. And I don't know if I played any more. I think I might have played another one. I might have played the fourth one, or I can't exactly remember. But I've definitely played the second and third one. And I played them a fair bit. I finished the campaigns, and I played a lot of the multiplayer. So, and yeah, they're fun adventure type games. So I really enjoyed them. But yeah, I wouldn't say like I'm a diehard fan of them, but they're just fun, like escapism. Yeah.
Cool. Adi, I know you're not a hardcore gamer, but how are you familiar with Uncharted at all?
I have always been familiar with it. The thing with games is, even if I haven't even like attempted to play one, which, you know what, I wouldn't be against if I could actually shoot at things. For some reason, I'm really bad at it. It's actually infuriating. But when you have friends, boyfriends, whatever, who've played it, like everyone knows what the whole thing's about. That knowledge sort of gets passed on through conversation. Yeah. So it wasn't totally alien to me. And I do work for a electronic chain that sells a lot of games. And then just sort of being in that environment, you also pick up some stuff. So, yeah, but I did a bit more research after watching the trailer because I wanted to have a bit more depth.
That's cool. Look, yeah. I've barely seen an episode of Doctor Who, but I could probably convince people that I have just from hearing people going to cons. Same with Harry Potter. I've never watched a full movie from start to finish or read a book.
What?
Is this
How am I just finding out about this?
Yeah, I've lost friends over this.
I forget about. Mate. I think I repress this information. To be honest,
at this point,
did you have a childhood? Are you okay?
I tried to read the fourth book when I was in Malta in a room that had missing bricks.
Did you read the first three?
No, but
why the fourth?
Well, the fourth one had a dragon on it, and dragons are cool, okay? But then mosquitoes were biting me.
Seed.
But then mosquitoes were biting me as I read it, and I was like, okay, fuck being bitten by mosquitoes, and fuck this book. And then at that point, it just became so fun not to watch it because I had this punk rock attitude. I was different, and now I get more joy seeing reactions from people like you than I do from watching the movie. That being said, just the other week, my girlfriend wanted to watch the second one, and I couldn't really leave, so I kind of watched
Do you watch the Chamber of Secrets?
I watched like the middle section of it.
That's probably my favorite one.
How did you only watch the middle section? How does that even make sense?
Well, I was on first I was on my phone for half of it, and second of all, I was like, but I learnt some things I didn't know. I now know that the reason Dobby is not a free elf is because he can't change his shirt or something. Like he's
okay. I'm gonna have to have a stern word with you. I'll
tell you. She's been asking me. Look, I'll spill the beans here. My vision is to one day have a spin-off podcast where I can tackle series, and I think the first one will be called Vela versus Potter, and I'll actually watch them. But I'm that much into content creation. That's my main motivation right now to not.
Wow.
I can't believe
so one
that.
day we'll do that.
Is Kate like really adamant on you watching them with her?
A little bit. I think if she watched more Marvel movies with me, that might convince me otherwise. But
Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll fix this.
She's made me watch 101 Dalmatians and Home Alone 3 so many times. I feel like it makes up for it. But guys, let's stay on topic. Let's talk about Uncharted. Oh, sorry. I should say my experience with Uncharted is at the start of COVID, I really got into video games, and so I bought the Uncharted trilogy, remastered, whatever, for really cheap. I played all three of them in the space of like a month. Whoa. And then I moved on to the fourth one, which was amazing. It's such a really great game. And then I got I don't know if the fifth one's really the fifth one. It's like a spin-off or whatever. So I pretty much played all 5 Uncharted games in the space of like 3 months. And I haven't touched it since. So I got a real quick masterclass on it. So that being said, we all know how we stand with Uncharted. Let's start talking about the trailer. Jesse, you seem the most passionate of the three of us.
Do
How
I?
do you feel about the trailer?
How do you gauge that?
Oh, the look of evil in your eyes.
The
You're
look
ready
of
to rip it
evil?
apart. You're ready
Wow,
to shred
okay.
this. You're like a salivating hyena
smirking.
ready to pounce on its prey.
Okay.
Is that true? Do you hate this trailer? Is that am I accurate?
Oh, well, I was just going to talk about the hyena part. I don't know where you've picked that out from, but oh look,
I could see it.
I wouldn't say I hated the trailer, but I'm not pumped. Like, I just, when you see Nathan Drake and then you see Tom Holland, you're like, man, that is such a world away from each other. And like, it's like video game movies, like video game adapted movies, already get a bad rap, and this just does not fill me with hope. And yeah, I just wasn't. Yeah, I'm not even a diehard Uncharted fan. Like, I like the games. The games are a lot of fun, but I wouldn't say I'm like a diehard like. So I can't imagine what this would be like for some diehard, Uncharted fans that are like, what is this? What's going on? Kind of thing. Because I'm not sure how old Nathan Drake's supposed to be, but I from what I gather, I thought he was like in his early 30s or something like that. And then you have Sully, who's in the movie played by Mark Wahlberg. And Sully's supposed to look like he's in his 60s. Like, I don't know the character's ages in the video games, but I'm just guessing. So I don't know if this is supposed to be like a prequel movie, and they're like, oh, then we'll change the actors later on. But I'm sorry, but this is probably a argument held by a lot of people. But Tom Holland's just too young. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. He's too
that,
young. Mark Wahlberg's too young for Sully.
I've heard people say that Mark Wahlberg should have played Nathan Drake, and with that, I'm like, I could see that.
Interesting.
I would have preferred that.
Yeah.
That
still
makes so much more
wouldn't be-
sense.
Because apparently he was attached to it before Tom Holland. But look, apparently that you're sort of on the money. This is intended to be a prequel of sorts, but I think they're just saying that like it's all talk and not real action, because a prequel would not reference other movies. This one references a lot of the first two, I think. And also I think they sort of hinted that by, like, Sully's known for his mustache. Mark Wahlberg does not have a mustache, which means
He's also
a
got
lot of
grey
shit
hair.
for that. Yeah.
Doesn't he?
I 100% promise you this is what's going to happen. There's the movie's going to end. It's going to say Uncharted, directed by some guy, and then the post-credit scene's going to come up, and then the bad guy's going to come back or something, like, oh, you're going to hear Mark Wahlberg's voice go, Drake, we got another adventure. He's like, oh, really? And then his face is going to come out from the shadows.
Mustache.
And now he's going to have a mustache. And I'd be like, boom. To be continued, Uncharted 2.
I would put money on that. I would
Yeah.
honestly put money on that.
The mustache is the post-credit scene, which is probably the most lamest post-credit scene you could have. But look, Adrianne, what are your reactions to this trailer?
So I had 3 initial reactions just before I had done more of a deep dive on the Uncharted games. My first thought was I'm the most interested to see the villains more than anyone else, because I love Antonio Banderas and I love when he's not a squishy little muffin. I think he's going to do such a good job. And Tati Gabrielle, who plays a character called Braddock in it, who apparently is based on some other villain in the games. She's sort of like a newish character for the film. She was in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the Netflix series. She is also the villain in that show, and she is phenomenally scary. I think she's going to be great in this film. So those two, I am the most keen for above anyone else, more than Tom Holland, more than Mark Wahlberg. And I think that I also had to say, I don't know if it's because they're trying to make it also feel like a video game, but the animation looked a little bit cheesy. And I know they would have had a decent budget that would have meant like it probably didn't have to look that way, but maybe it's just supposed to look a bit like gameplay. No, I don't know.
I think doing CGI in daylight, especially on the plane sequence.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes really obvious. It reminds me a
Yeah.
bit of the final action sequence of, I don't know if you guys saw Bloodspot. What's the Vin Diesel one?
Bloodshot? No.
Bloodshot. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that. Like, it just got real. All of a sudden, the CGI just took a dive, and to have it look like that in the trailer, like, I think Marvel have stopped caring about the quality of this CGI. Like, looking at like Black Widow and Shang-Chi, like,
Yeah.
but maybe it's a COVID thing. Maybe like studios are affected with COVID. But I am noticing lately, I feel like some of these big blockbuster mammoths, the CGI, it can get a bit video gamey sometimes.
It sort of looked like that. But I don't know. I mean, like, maybe it'll work for it. I think for me, the most exciting scene that I'm keen for is when they're in that like casino or something and they're swinging from that really cool chandelier. I think there's going to be some really cool action sequences. But I did read something really interesting, which was Sony said that this movie is going to be its own thing and separate from the game, which
Right.
sort of...
Then why just create a new movie?
Because
I don't know.
I'll tell you, because then no one would see it because it doesn't have the brand recognition of the intellectual property, which is Uncharted. And I'll tell you, I have a theory. The reason they made this is because Sony wanted another franchise for Tom Holland, specifically him. Like, they've been talking about an Uncharted movie for 10 years. I remember hearing a talk ages ago when they announced this, that the head of Sony Films and Tom Holland were talking around, and he was just like to Tom, do you have any franchises you like? And he goes, I like playing Uncharted. And he goes, all right, you can have the movie. And it was as simple as that. And I imagine it was probably around the time that, like I said, all roads lead to Venom with me. It was probably around the time.
It's all Venom's fault.
It is. It is. It always is Venom's fault. That's the thing. But I think it was around the time they were renegotiating and Sony wanted to take back Spider-Man, and Tom Holland has a story where he was apparently called up on the phone. He was crying to the head of Sony Films or whatever, and he was like saying, like, please let Spider-Man stay in the MCU, because they were allowed to take Spider-Man back. And then I feel like a month or two later, we hear, hey, Tom Holland might be in an Uncharted movie. And so it's like, it seems a little like something's happened there, in my opinion. But look,
Interesting.
As for my thoughts, like, look, it seems like a fun, family-friendly action-adventure film, a harmless one. It's kind of hard to screw that up because the Uncharted movies basically just took generic action-adventure films and took their tropes and put it in a video game. And that was exciting because we didn't have a game like that. But I think when you start to reverse that, what are you left with? You're just left with a generic family-friendly action-adventure film. It's the gimmick of the video game is now gone. So they're gonna have to make up with it with hopefully Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg have great chemistry. That could really help it. I think another thing you can do is have good writing and some really good action set pieces. And right now, I don't know if it does, because the biggest thing I'm seeing is a plane sequence which looks like it was ripped out of Fast and Furious 6 or 8. 6 or 8. Fast and Furious.
It just looked kind of cheap.
That's sort of the vibe that I got, and it made... I don't think I actually had any sort of any hype before I had seen the trailer, but I was excited for... I love action, adventure, epics, but yeah, I think that sort of dipped it a little bit for me.
I was kind of keen to see Tom Holland do something different, and he's not. He's just doing Peter Parker. It's exactly the same. It's not Nathan Drake. It's Peter Parker. And let's be real, like, this might be controversial. His American accent, it's okay at best. It's not bad, but it's not particularly great. And
can I just say this, Matt? Like, you've played the games. I was saying this to Adrianne before, and look, nothing against Tom Holland, but when you play the games, like Nathan Drake, he's not he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's just like an average size kind of, but it looks like he can like hold his own in a fight. But Tom Holland's like so slight. Do you know what I mean?
He looks like Agent Cody Banks.
Yes, actually, yes. You nailed it.
He doesn't look like Nathan Drake. He looks like fucking Malcolm in the Middle's Agent Cody Banks. And yeah, man, like that's
But you know what I mean? Like, because Nathan Drake can look like he can hold himself in a fight, but Tom Holland, it just looks, he's Like,
Nathan Drake is a swashbuckling cowboy Han Solo type that you would expect to be played by someone like Chris Pratt. Like maybe not looks, but attitude and personality.
yeah,
Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth, any of the Chris's really.
Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it'd be a little bit different for Chris Evans, but I reckon he's got it in him. He's got the body. Like, maybe take off the head. The body could be Nathan Drake for sure. It would have been nice though. I don't know what nationality he's meant to be, but I feel like Nathan Drake's a little bit got some ethnic. Like he's always tan at least. I don't know.
I watched some gameplay. You seem like that seems like a pretty fitting description.
I feel
they
like
both look like they could like hurt you if you piss them off at a bar.
Yeah, I feel like he's always got a tan in him too. Like they never say he's not American, but yeah. Look, I'm sure it'll be a fun action adventure film, but I feel like modern or majority of audiences will like it, but gamers who are there for the Easter eggs and stuff, they might be a little disappointed. But on the plus side, you know, they've got the outfit kind of right. They've got some references there, but Uncharted doesn't exactly have a lot of memorable characters in its lore. So there's not a lot to really, I think, dig from personally. But look, might be fun, might not be. Shall we move on? Shall we move on to our next one?
We shall move on.
All right. Speaking of action films, wow, that's my laziest segue ever. Michael Bay has a new movie, which I think's exciting because every time, because I like Michael Bay, but I'm not into the Transformers movies. So every time he does something that's not Transformers, I'm particularly excited because I'm like, is Bay back? Is Bay back? And this one's looking all right, I think. Who should take the lead on this one? Who wants to start?
I'll start, I guess.
Okay. What do you think of Ambulance?
Michael Bay was a huge selling point because you automatically know you're going to get great action sequences, no matter how shitty any other aspects might be. So that was a huge one. But first frame, Jake Gyllenhaal's face, sold. I love anything that Jake Gyllenhaal does.
That's all you need in your life.
That's literally all I need. He is amazing, and I feel like you could give him... He could play a potato and make it so intense.
I would so watch that.
I'd watch that too.
So would I. So anyone who's listening, just honestly write it. But he's so good, and he always makes the stakes feel incredibly high for the audience all the time. So that really pulled me in. But the only thing that I feel like I would criticize about the trailer is I feel like they sort of showed the whole movie in the trailer. I think they showed too much.
Can we talk about that? Just the way this trailer is structured. I'm a bit confused. So I've only watched the first half of the trailer, it's like, oh, okay, it's this big action movie where these guys are gonna like rob a bank and stuff.
Yeah.
But then halfway through the trailer, it all changes and it's like it's sort of implying that most of it takes place inside an ambulance. Which so it's like, oh, okay, this is what Speed 2 should have been. That's cool. Yeah. But now I'm like, okay, so I get you got to set it up, but is this how the movie's going to be? Is half of it going to be the bank and the other half's the ambulance? Or have they just shown us a lot from the first act leading up to the ambulance? I don't know.
The ambulance is... I don't think it's going to be the whole thing because it's essentially they try to pull off a heist, they fuck up, and they hijack the ambulance for the getaway. So the ambulance could just be in the last bit, and it might mostly take place in the bank.
And if that's the case, why the fuck are you calling it ambulance?
I know.
It should be some other generic bank heist name, like the bank heisters who have an ambulance. Like, I don't know.
You know what?
Unless they're throwing you off. Unless the trailer's throwing you off or something
could
like
be
that.
throwing you off.
Something
it's a lot more important than it's implied from the name or whatever.
Possible. Something that is implied in both the trailer and poster, and if blink and you'll miss it, they highlight the LA of ambulance.
Yeah, it's in Los Angeles, yeah.
I don't know if the city of Los Angeles is meant to be a character or what, or maybe they just like go, hey, it's got LA in it. That's smart.
No, it's definitely a Los Angeles. It is. Because even when you read the blurb, they mention Los Angeles like every single time. I reckon though that the title ambulance could also imply that they fucked up so bad they're gonna need an ambulance. You know what I mean? That could.
Well, they
maybe
do
be a
need
thing.
an ambulance. So
Well, I mean, emotionally, physically,
okay.
who knows? They're gonna need some
Getting
serious
those
help.
metaphors in.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, aren't we all ambulances deep down?
Yeah, that's it.
God. I do want to say one thing though that gives me a lot, like even more intrigue and hope is the writer also did one of my favorite, personally, I think most underrated shows ever made, Chuck.
Ooh.
So he's really, I know he's like a 4-dimensional writer. He makes
Chuck.
every character so deep. And
Is Chuck the one about the taxi?
No, it's
Who
got that.
drives a taxi? No.
It's got that guy from Shazam. I can't remember his name.
yes. I'm trying to remember his name as well, actually. Oh shit, it's on the tip of my tongue.
It's
got Yvonne I'm gonna butcher her name. Yvonne Strahovski. Or
Yeah, no, he's
Aussie
so
chick.
Chuck is about this guy who's employed by the CIA to do these secret missions, but they use his brain to download information. It's really good.
Is that Chuck 2.0? Is that what it's called? No,
Not
it's not.
2.0.
No. There's another show
No.
called something 2.0. It was Ethan.
It's a
2.0,
spy
I
show.
think.
It's a spy show
Okay,
essentially.
I get
But
you.
it's really emotional. It would make anyone cry, I promise. Like it's really amazing. So we'll see how it goes. with
Zachary
Ambulance.
Levi.
Yeah,
Zachary
that's
Levi.
it. Zachary Levi.
There you go. Jesse, do you have any other major takeaways about the ambulance trailer?
It looked really interesting. But I'd have to agree with Adrian. It did look like it gave a lot away. But again, Jake Gyllenhaal is a big selling point because I'll always watch something with Jake Gyllenhaal in it. Yeah, I mean, as the trailer kind of progressed and we had more shots of exploding cars, I'm like, oh yeah, this is Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right. Because I don't think out of all the Michael Bay films, I actually haven't seen many of his movies. Like I saw the first 3 Transformers, and we all know what happened there.
Yeah.
I remember I saw the third Transformers, and I ended up getting headaches, and I'm like, well, that was a piece of trash. And it made me feel like shit. And then I saw Pain and Gain.
Yeah.
Did you guys see
Yeah.
Pain and Gain?
Oh, like when it came out, it's been a while.
Pain and
Yeah.
Gain is, I think, the only, besides the shitty Transformers films, I think it's the only one I haven't seen, but it's the one I really do want to, I think about like at least once a month, I say to myself, I should watch Pain and Gain. I reckon I would really like Pain and Gain. That movie would be really good. And I just never end up watching it.
Yeah.
One of these days I'll see it. But dude, if you haven't seen the first 2 Bad Boys, they're really good. And The Rock.
I've never actually seen those movies.
You
so-
should. They're really good. They're iconic.
Also, The Rock is an all-time action classic. Pretty much everything before Transformers is really good.
I like 1 and 2. I'm really sorry, guys, but I do like Transformers 1 and 2.
Look, a lot of people
one's
do.
one's
but
okay. One is all right. It's
funny as
serviceable.
hell.
It's all right.
I really liked
But
it.
then yeah,
for me, I don't like the character design. Actually, I should take it back. I do really like, but I don't think Bay did it, but I really love Bumblebee.
I love Bumblebee.
is everything. Bumblebee is everything I wanted the Transformers movies to be in terms of like design of them, like they're not too overly complex. I thought the story, it felt very Spielberg. It was basically E.T. but with like robot cars,
Nailed
and it's
it.
like that's amazing. I'll watch that. I'll tell you something else. I want to compare this to because it reminds me a little bit of one of his more recent films, Six Underground, which is on Netflix. Although I thought Six Underground was a bit disappointing. It had some amazing set pieces, but the characters, they just weren't there. And like
that was with Ryan Reynolds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds was being Ryan Reynolds,
Yeah.
but you need more than just Ryan Reynolds, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like, and like the story was just so bland and generic. It was like, it felt like Bay was kind of like, I want to do an awesome scene in this location, beautiful location of car action scenes. But I feel like everything else is like, what's the story? We'll figure it out. You know?
Also, I
But
have
Ambulance,
Just-
let me just quickly finish this.
Yeah.
Ambulance, I think, fixes that problem. You've got great actors. I know we talked about Jake Gyllenhaal, but Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, he is amazing in everything he does. I said this, I think, last episode. I stan him. He's great. But this concept, yeah, it's another generic bank heist thing. But then you get into the ambulance stuff, and like I said, it's what Speed 2 should have been. It's like, I actually hope the film focuses more on the ambulance because that is more unique to me. And I've seen enough bank heist movies. So I'm hoping, because the visuals and the action feels like Six Underground, but the plot feels a lot more interesting, and I like the actors more, I think. So I'm hoping this is a cocktail for a really good action flick. Sorry, Adi, continue. What were you gonna say?
I'm pretty sure it's a bank, by the way. I haven't confirmed if it is, but from what I saw, I thought it was inside a bank.
Oh, so it might not be a bank.
It might not be, but I think it is. I have a feeling it is. If it's not, it's probably like a hotel. But
if it's a bank robbery film,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, if it's a bank robbery film, I'm all in. I've made a bank robbery film.
Yes, you have. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is. Heist implies it's a place with a lot of.
You can heist for information. You can heist for jewels and diamonds and other stuff, I guess. But yeah, ambulance. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see how that goes. Next up on our list, ladies and gentlemen, is let's do one that's a little bit of a meme. It's about Tiger King Part 2. We all knew it was coming. They were gonna do one. It started a pandemic. It just hit, and it was so viral. Let's go around the circle. You know what? Can I assume we've all seen Tiger King Part 1?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
So let's just assume we all thought it was fucked up and crazy. What? I'm going to go to Adrianne. Tell me, what are your expectations of Tiger King Part 2? What did you think of this? Do we need a Part 2?
I think exactly what you said. I thought season 1 was fucked up, and I would expect season 2 to be 50 times more fucked up, because generally I don't think that they were expecting it to be that big. I don't think anyone thought it was going to catch fire like the way that it did. And Carol is loving it. She's soaking it up. She doesn't even give a shit of all of the things she's been accused of. She's lost weight. She's like smiling in every single shot.
She is on Cameo. For like $20, you can pay her to send you a happy birthday message or something. And there's an Aussie comedian named Tom Armstrong. He paid her to say, I think it was like a shout out to his friend Joe, and it's like, tell him that he's a real killer or something like that. Like she basically got her to admit like that she killed her husband. But she didn't. I can't remember the exact video, but like she didn't know what she was saying. Basically, in Cameo, you can give them a script and they'll say whatever for like $50 or whatever. But yeah, she loves this. But you're right, she loves the celebrity status. But I think it also should be mentioned. We haven't really heard from Joe, but he clearly wanted to be a celebrity. Like this wasn't the first. This is like the third or fourth documentary on him. It seems like, I don't know if they're going to have an interview with him, like visually, but they've at least got some phone recordings of him. So I can't wait to hear that.
They're all lapping it up, this newfound insane level of fame and money. So I remember in season 1, every episode that passed, my jaw got closer to the ground and I could not believe what I was watching. So I think it's going to be pretty much the same deal.
Jesse, what are your expectations?
I've got a lot to say. So number one, I'm most curious about what they're going to do with Joe with this, because the fact that he's still in prison, after I watched Tiger King, I got really obsessed with it. I was trying to get my ex-girlfriend to watch it with me. And I actually ended up watching a whole bunch of documentaries about him, because as you said,
me too.
I watched the Louis Theroux one. I watched the Louis Theroux one that he made, I think it was last year or this year, because he made one off the back of Tiger King, because
he did a
Tiger
second
King blew
one.
up. He did a second one, yes.
I didn't know he did a second one. Shit.
Yeah,
okay.
I watched another one that came out the same year as Tiger King. So it gives you like more of a complete picture of who he was, because I was just so fascinated by him, and I don't know what they're gonna do, if he's just gonna be in prison the whole time and they're just gonna interview him in prison. But I'm super pumped for it. I would say about the Carol Baskin thing, when Louis Theroux interviewed her in his like catch up documentary, who's her husband? Howard.
Right.
So Louis Theroux and Carol and Howard went back to the zoo, and it's kind of like, you know, torn down, everything's abandoned, it's just rubbish everywhere and stuff like that. And they sat down and had a chat, and you know, Louis was kind of saying to him, you know, trying to get her to say whether she killed her husband, and her and Howard getting really pissed off with it. And Howard was like, you know, can you just stop this? We don't want to talk about this anymore. Like I think they're like they kept telling him in the doco that they're super fed up with it. They're over it.
Right.
They're overhearing about it, and like he was like kind of like, and Louis just like, okay, I'm gonna stop talking about it now. Another interesting thing I'd say was I think Louis wanted to interview all the characters from Tiger King, but the people that made the first Tiger King documentary had a contract of all these people, so Louis Theroux couldn't talk with pretty much any of them except for Carol Baskin.
That makes sense.
So he's kind of stuck with who he could chat to in it. But yeah, I kind of got off topic here. But yeah, I'm super pumped. I absolutely loved the first, you know, as everyone else was in pandemic and lockdown. I just binged it and I just absolutely was obsessed with it. So
yeah, I think
he's a very interesting character.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting. I do want to say though, touching on the Carol Baskins element, I think it was, you know, I don't blame her for being sick of that, because she became a meme online that the whole world was in on, that accusing her of being a killer. But I think it's kind of fucked up, because you got to remember, like, the Tiger King himself killed God knows how many tigers. Like at the end, like a lot of people forget this, but like when they raided the place or whatever, they found all these dead tigers buried underground, and he always was saying about how he protects them and stuff. But he essentially. He's a monster. He bred the tigers for the sole purpose of profit, and when they became not profitable, he would kill them.
Well, in the
zoo
second,
would never do that.
In the first Louis Theroux doco, he said he'd euthanize them all if the animal rights people threatened to take them off him. He'd just euthanize all the tigers.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure he shot them like with a gun.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Like, and the thing is, there's something compelling and kind of likable about him, about the way he talks and the way he comes across.
The charisma.
Yeah. But then there's like that ulterior, like, yeah, he's got a lot of charisma, but then there's like that ulterior kind of.
And that's the thing. Carol doesn't have that star power element. Like, hey there, cats and kids. She's your mum. Like, nobody wants to watch their mum on TV, you know? So, like, I understand how it's easy to take his side and gang up, but like, you gotta remember, this dude's a meth head.
Yeah.
Like,
Is he though?
Yeah, there's a reason why half of them don't have teeth.
I thought his husbands were meth heads.
You don't date a meth head and not do meth, one? Jesse. It's a destructive drug. It destroys.
Yeah.
Like, you know, okay, you can take it, from my understanding, you can take it a little bit and you could be fine and maybe even get away with it. People won't even know. But like, once you get to that point, like, it is a lifestyle choice.
You either leave, you exit the relationship, or you join in on those like terrible habits.
He just came across to me as like a massive hick. Like, he didn't come across to me as like a druggo.
Yeah.
So
you are. Oh, nah. He's a lot of the time he's on something. I don't know if it's meth, but he's on. My girlfriend is really good at calling this stuff out, and she'd be like, oh yeah, he's on something. He's on something. He's down pills. He's on something. And like, we're watching it. She would do that. Like, he's fucked. I'm like, what do you mean? He's just like an eccentric, happy-go-lucky guy. It's like, yeah, because he probably snorted a line before they started recording. So, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong. He's an eccentric person still, and he's flamboyant, and he's really, you know, entertaining, but he's also fucked up. He's in jail for a reason. Like, he did go to jail on accident. Like, he did some fucked up shit.
Well, the hitman's saying now that it was like never a thing. Like, the guy that Joe Exotic allegedly paid to kill Carol recently came out in confession and said, oh, you know, the whole thing's made up or something along those lines. Like, he said something like it wasn't like actually, I don't know, something rather where he just confessed. And
he does talk a lot of shit. So like, maybe he was just talking shit. Like, maybe he didn't actually do stuff, but I think he is a dangerous person in some element. I think he's friendly
Yeah.
if you're an attendee there and you give him money, like he's going to be nice to you because he's a nice, he loves his business and he loves that. But I think
Well, even when I saw his YouTube channel, because if you've seen his YouTube channel, he's been doing programs on his YouTube channel, like these shows that he shot inside his house or whatever it is, like the thing on the property on the farm. He's been shooting shows for years and years and years. And you watch that and he's very, very friendly and hospitable to people that come to, the zoo and stuff like that. And
I think that if you crossed him, like, I don't say he would kill people. Like, I wouldn't go that far. But, like, yeah, like, he would at least be angry and yelling and stuff. I guess that you could say that about anybody. I think the last thing to point out is at the start of the pandemic, when it blew up, no one expected it. I think Tiger King did the first instance I saw of a remote COVID-based show where they did the after show with Joel McHale, who I love in everything he does, interviewed pretty much almost everybody, and they all talked about their fame after it and how they kind of were taken by surprise, which I think will be a big part of Tiger King too. But I think it's also worth mentioning, they, like, when he said to all of them, like, what do you think of Joe? They all threw him under the bus. They're all like, fuck Joe. Like, he's shit. He didn't pay us. He treated us like crap. Like, no one, even his lovers were like, yeah, he like
he was a piece of shit.
Yeah, they wouldn't throw him as far as the others, but look, I think he is the bad guy, but look, we love the Joker for the same reasons.
Yes.
He's still entertaining. He's still great. And, maybe he's not as bad as he seems, I think. But I think the thing that annoyed me most about Tiger King is how everybody said he's the main character, so he's the good one. And it's like, is he though? I love Dexter, the show, but I wouldn't have a drink at a bar with Dexter.
No.
He'd probably stab me in the neck. I mean, no,
Are
he
you
would.
bad, though?
No, actually, no. I'm a real
You're not
good
a serial
guy,
killer,
I swear.
so
Yeah,
Joe
no, but sometimes I leave the toilet. Joe would. But sometimes I leave the toilet seat up. So, what's his ethical, I don't know how he judges that shit. Look, let's move on. Fucking hell. Let's talk about, oh man, I'm keen to talk about this next one. Lightyear. A lot of people didn't see this coming. Adrianne, I know you were just making an excited noise, but I swear to God, I thought you were a seagull.
Yeah.
So,
I'm so
ladies and
excited.
gentlemen, flying in from DY Beach, it's 80 the seagull. How you doing today?
Cheap, guys.
Oh, fuck.
mine.
I'm sorry. Lightyear. So for those who are unaware, because I feel like a lot of people were confused by this, even though it was announced a year ago, in the movie Toy Story, the Buzz we know is a toy based off like a show or a blockbuster movie. This is meant to be the blockbuster movie the toy is based off. Hence the different aesthetics and the different voice actor and I think we're in for a wild ride. It's just very ambitious, I think, for Pixar. But let's go to Adrianne. You're a bit of a Pixar fan. What did you think of this trailer?
I watch every Pixar movie without fail, often multiple times.
What's the best one? Quick.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna count to five.
Okay,
Five,
maybe
4,
Up.
3.
Maybe
okay.
Up. Yeah.
Good.
I
You're
do
saying
love
that
Up.
because I said that a few
But
episodes ago.
it's a
You're sucking up to me.
It's just beautiful. It really is. Oh my God. I love
is,
so
it
many of
is.
them. But Lightyear, from the second you hear the music, the Bowie song coming in, and you see that photorealistic animation that they just do better than anyone else, I already knew that this movie's gonna make me cry. It's gonna make me contemplate my existence. It's going to enter my heart and never leave. I am extremely excited. Also, I love Chris Evans. Anything he does, I'll always see. I'm a big fan of him as well. And Angus MacLane.
Well cast, I would say.
Pardon?
Great pick for Buzz. Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear. Great pick.
Yeah.
Great
So
pick.
good. And Angus MacLane, he did Finding Dory. He directed Finding Dory, which was an emotional killer and so good. I really loved it. So I think he's really gonna bring this one. It's just gonna be a full circle movie. I just feel like it's gonna be pretty perfect. A few things that I sort of I did another deep dive after I watched the trailer. Sort of like, I noticed that there were Wall-E-like robots on the planet that he's on, which would make a lot of sense because Angus MacLean, I think, wrote and produced as well on Wall-E. But I love those little Easter eggs. And you can see that just from the little hints that are in there, there's obviously time is a huge piece of the story, because throughout the shots in the trailer, the characters change in appearance and the planets that they're on also change. Like the initial one has craters, which sort of implies that, I read somewhere in Wall-E, it's about like a failed mission to bring humans to another planet to inhabit, and that maybe with this one, it's going to be about the people that were evacuated from Earth in Wall-E. It could be like sort of linked between the two of them, because they are on a crater Mars sort of like planet in this trailer, and there's barely any speaking
Is
scenes.
that your theory, or did you read that online?
I think it's a very plausible theory. I read a whole bunch of things about Easter eggs, and I feel like that one makes a lot of sense. Also, the Bowie song was the first thing that struck me, because Starman is actually about a starman who comes to a new planet, and he's trying to sort of fit into like a new world. And I think that 100%, that's not an accident to put that song in there. And then on top of that, here's some music knowledge for you. In Starman, the main line of the song is a reference to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's the same note range. Okay. And Somewhere Over the Rainbow is from Wizard of Oz, which is about Dorothy waking up in a brand new world. So I think that all of this comes together, and that's going to be the focus of the movie with time travel. Yeah.
Have they? Wow, that's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot.
Look, I think I'll be crazy to not see at least a Wall-E Easter egg. I have a feeling though, just based on the animation style, like so the art design and stuff, I feel like this is gonna stand alone from a lot of Pixar. But Pixar do love their Easter eggs. So I think it would be a huge missed opportunity not to at least have something that looks like Wall-E. I guess you could put Wall-E in this and it'll feel kind of place. But what I love a lot about this trailer is how they took a lot of the cartoony elements of Toy Story and made it more realistic. Like the spacesuit looks like a real spacesuit now. It's pretty awesome.
It does.
Yeah, I think thematically, like a lot of that stuff lines up with Pixar and Disney stories. Like there's always some level of outcasts or misfits trying to fit in or discovering something new or whatever. I always say this, trailer 1 is often about nowadays it's often about capturing the vibe, and trailer 2 is often about getting the story right. So I'd imagine in the next trailer we'll see a lot more story elements. Maybe it's more of this foresty planet. Jesse.
Yes.
Do you have anything to add to Lightyear?
I don't have heaps to add to it. It looked very interesting. There wasn't like, I didn't feel like there was like heaps. Because it doesn't really. It's just kind of showing all the visuals. The visuals and animation look amazing. I am very interested in it. I am very interested in the fact though that they didn't use Tim Allen, because there was a big hubbub about that, because people say, because he's conservative or Republican or whatever, which I thought was kind of, I think it's a good casting choice, Chris Evans. I'm quite interested in it. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I just think kind of like what I was saying a little bit. I kind of hinted at it before, but I think Disney really want to show that this is not Toy Story. This is Lightyear. It's a different thing. So I think having a different voice actor, different art style, all that, like it would be weird. It would feel cheap to me if they had the same art direction. I don't say it would be bad to have Tim Allen, because it's Tim Allen, but
I guess because I grew up with those, like I'm assuming same with you guys, grew up with those movies.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just so used to the Tim Allen voice. But there was
Totally.
like a Batman not Batman, Buzz Lightyear animated movie where he was voiced by someone else as well.
Yeah,
But,
the animated movie actually spun off into an animated TV show.
Yeah.
It actually brings up my only other point I had to really say, so I'll just jump into that since you gave me a good springboard there, is I can't help but notice a really different element of tone. Like, it feels, I'm not going to say realistic because there are spaceships and stuff, but it feels a little bit more grounded. But the cartoon, movie, and show, like, he had a team, they all had laser guns, they were shooting lasers at bad guys. Zurg was like Darth Vader. Are we going to get Zurg in this? I feel like it might be weird to see him in this now because it looks like they're trying to do something so serious, but we know the previous source material, which maybe they'll ignore. I don't know.
I think he'll be in it. I think he will be.
It'll be weird.
I think it will be in it as well.
I expect to see him. I think it'll be weird to not have him, right? Because they spent all of Toy Story 2 hyping up his main villain and stuff. But, like, when I look at this, it doesn't look like Avengers, you know? There's no Space Wars.
It's very Interstellar.
It's very Interstellar. Yeah, it feels like Interstellar. And it's like, would you throw, I don't know, Rocket Raccoon and Groot into Interstellar? Probably not. I don't know. So that's why I'm curious to see. I think trailer 2 will reveal what kind of movie this really is. Because here, like, maybe they're just trying to capture the vibe of hope and going to infinity and all that stuff. But
I
don't know.
I really liked the little Star Wars reference when he beams through space. It was exactly the same. The little, strips of light. I thought that was super cute.
That's cool. Yeah. Anything else from anyone?
Nope. Really excited for it.
I got to find a better way to wrap these up. But, the next one, I've got to apologize. I don't know if I just realized I don't know if I've seen this. I think I have. House of Gucci. I just realized I haven't watched this.
Ridley Scott
What
directing.
should we do? Wait, this is Ridley Scott?
Yes,
Yep.
yes it is. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do something we never do. Matt Vella's going to shut the fuck up and let you guys talk. It's just ironic, guys, because behind the scenes before the episode, I scolded this guy a little bit, like, guys, we've got to watch all the trailers before we're ready to record. And now I'm realizing I haven't watched this. I think I saw the teaser, from like way back.
Yeah.
And I've seen all the posters, but lay this on me first. Adrianne, tell me, what is this movie about?
Okay.
and tell me what we should expect and what you think we should expect.
So, there's so many
Besides,
things.
it's Lady Gaga and Adam Driver, right?
Yes. So Lady Gaga and Adam Driver play husband and wife. Her name was, and these are real people, obviously, because Gucci is a real thing. But Adam Driver plays Maurizio Gucci, who's the son of, oh my gosh, I can't remember his dad's name, but he's like the founder of the Gucci house. And Lady Gaga plays Patrizia Reggiani, who was his wife, who organized to assassinate him when he dumped her for a younger woman. And she served...
It's a real thing?
It's real. She originally got a 29-year sentence, then it got reduced to 26, then it got reduced to 16 or 18 years, and she was released in 2016 on a good behavior bond.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a real thing. And then we also have Jared Leto in it, who is in some fucking insane makeup. You would have no clue from the picture or the trailer it was him unless you're like a diehard fan, because he's got those iconic eyes that I never miss because he's beautiful. But yeah, he's going to be incredible.
Keep in your pants, Sadie.
I'll try. And then Salma Hayek is also in it. They would be the top 4 build cast. And it's basically in the lead up to her trial. So you watch the behind the scenes of the family and what was going on in her plot to have him murdered, which was successful as well. He was shot on the steps outside of, I think, the Gucci headquarters in Italy. So the whole thing's set in Italy. I think it's going to be amazing. It's not what I expected Ridley Scott to do, but I'm really glad that he did it. I think it's going to be immaculate visually, costumes. I think the acting is going to be phenomenal. The only critique I have is Lady Gaga's accent threw me off. Both trailers. She's, to me personally, compared to like my cousins, my family friends, whatever, she sounded more Russian than Italian. So that sort of threw me off. But other than that, I absolutely adore her as an actress. I think she's still going to knock it out of the park. Maybe they only chose clips where her accent wasn't as full. I trust her to deliver because she is Italian.
But you're saying that the guys editing the trailer intentionally like, Lady Gaga's performance is really good. Yeah, you're right. Only use clips where she's doing a shit job at her accent.
I'm really fucking hoping that that's the case here, because if she does speak that way for the whole film, it's gonna really take me out of focus a little bit. But yeah, I'm
looking at the cast here, and I'm surprised. Is this film not going to feature Lil Pump and his Gucci gang, or is that just a bad joke?
For a half a second, I thought you were being legitimate, and I was like, do I have to explain this?
Oh god, Jesse, what are your thoughts on this trailer?
Okay, so I didn't know anything about this story. I just knew that it was, the fashion brand that girls from the North Shore love to wear, and so it's, I guess it's the family behind the fashion brand, the Italian family behind the fashion brand, and it looked really, really good. I thought it looked really, really good. I didn't really know. Yeah, as I said, I didn't know anything about it. Ridley Scott just did The Last Duel with Adam Driver as well, which we're going to review next week, but I loved that one. I love that film. So, but yeah, it looks really, really interesting, and I'm very keen to see it. Very, very interesting. Because as I said, I don't know anything about the story behind it. So,
yeah, I've heard people say that The Last Duel is like a real return to form for Ridley Scott. Zoheb from Midnight Double Feature, who we had in the last episode, is notoriously he really dislikes a lot of Ridley Scott's later films.
Okay.
Really?
Like his earlier stuff is hit and miss, but like he raises a good point. Like there's been a few misses more than hits lately. There have been a few good ones here and there, but even he was saying I think The Last Duel is like one of his favorite films in the year. So that's high praise coming from him, and I usually respect that guy's opinion quite a lot. He's got good taste, so I can't wait to see The Last Duel, and then seeing that they're dropping this trailer around the same time that is, it really feels like Ridley Scott, like, he had some bad luck with some of the Alien stuff in the recent years, but I feel like he's really back in his element. And this film looks like $1 billion, and it looks like it's one of those films like, hey guys, we're going for the Oscar with this one? Yep. All right.
This does sort of seem like an Oscar bait picture. I think that pretty much everyone, Jared will be nominated, no doubt. Adam Driver will probably be, and Gaga probably will be as well. She only picks things that she's extremely invested in, because her last was A Star Is Born, and that was another serious picture. I'm keen to see, maybe Ridley Scott, I don't know, maybe he did sort of want to separate himself from his usual narrative, but I think that we'll see a lot of him in it. I am very excited for this.
Yeah, well, like, don't forget, he did, what was it? Was it The Martian? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like that film. I know some people were a bit split on it, but I thought that was really good. And, I feel like keeps working. Like looking at his, like, IMDb, it's like, dude, take a break.
I think so too.
So much shit.
He does do a lot.
But to be honest, I think he's got more hits than misses. Like,
without a doubt. Without a doubt. Some of the stuff he's done before. I mean, I feel like I'm the only person on Earth, like talking about his Alien films, I feel like I'm the only person on Earth that likes both Prometheus and Alien Covenant. Like, yes,
I liked both of them. I really, really liked them.
You know what's funny? I'll say this because I know you're not a Marvel fan, Jesse, but I am hearing from some people that apparently Prometheus was a big influence on the Eternals, which comes out next week.
That's cool.
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah,
very cool.
I'm hearing a lot of people say like that movie. It's very not Marvel, and it's their first directed by an Oscar winner. So, if anything can convince you to watch a Marvel movie next week, that might be it.
Hey, I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what to expect. It's also their lowest critical film, I think, to date, I believe. So we'll see. That's me change the subject because I have nothing to say. So maybe that's a sign to move on. Okay, that is all our trailers for today. Like I said, we didn't cover Cowboy Bebop. Please don't hate us. My best friend loves that show. I used to be a big anime guy. I'm not these days, but I do like my anime. We'll probably cover the movie when we see it, but I'm just being careful because otakus, anime fans, they can be vicious, and I know my mate Rick is probably listening to this episode, and he's sharpening a samurai sword or a gun or whatever they use in Cowboy Bebop to attack me with. Is it bubblegum? I don't know, but whatever their weapon of choice is, he's got that aimed at my head right now. So let's move on to our film discussions. These will be filled with spoilers. You have been warned. Spoiler alert. The following film discussions may contain spoilers. Pig, Jungle Cruise, and The Guilty. If you want to skip any of these, be sure to check the time codes down below in the show notes. And that right there is your spoiler warning. You've been warned. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today we were going to cover The Guilty, which is on Netflix, Jungle Cruise, which is on Disney Plus, and we're going to cover Pig, which is in cinemas now, starring Nicolas Cage. The way I think we'll do this is let's end on The Guilty, because we've all seen it. Then let's start maybe on Jungle Cruise, because Adrianne and I have seen that. It's been a while since I think we've seen it, so we'll see how we go. And then after that, we'll have Pig, which is from Jesse, and then we'll have The Guilty with all three of us. That sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Let's lock and load. Starting off with Jungle Cruise. Came on Disney Plus. I was really happy to see a big film during lockdown. Very excited about that. It stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and
Emily
no,
Blunt.
IMDb's not loading. Yeah, Emily Blunt. Yes, that's right. Quiet Place. Emily Blunt. Love her. She's amazing. Adrianne, why don't you kick things off? What did you think of Jungle Cruise?
I really, really enjoyed it. It was such a fun movie. It's exactly what you expect it to be. And it's sort of like, it's another based on a Disneyland ride movies like Pirates. So you get all of that action and adventure and romance and comedy that you would expect. And I think Emily Blunt and Dwayne Johnson had really good chemistry.
Emily Blunt and this rock that she found.
And this rock that she found. This really staunch rock. They had such great chemistry. And I realized about 15 minutes in that it was a remake of 1999's The Mummy.
It feels like
it pretty much is. Like, it's almost character for character exactly the same. I don't have a problem with that formula being reused again in a different way because I fucking love that formula and it's an epic adventure. But yeah, I thought it was really, really fun and I'm pretty sure they're going to do a sequel. So I'll be there waiting for the sequel. Jack Whitehall, who plays the comedic brother to, the highly intelligent female, the Mummy all over again. He was really good. I really liked him on screen. So
AB.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to call them by their mummy names.
Yes,
I think now.
yes, literally. What did you think, Matt? You liked it, didn't you?
I loved it. It was everything you said. It's like the classic action adventure. It's the Mummy, it's the Mummy. And it's like literally like I think my biggest criticism though is it's a weird criticism, but I like Dwayne Johnson, but he's too muscular for this role. I know he would get offended hearing this, but I wish he lost weight for this. I think he has the charisma, right? He has the charisma, but to play this cowboy jungle dude who runs around. And I know we got to talk about this actually. What is Dwayne Johnson's obsession with jungles? He did
Yeah, it's true.
He did Jungle Cruise. He did Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. He did another movie called Welcome to the Jungle. He did Jumanji 2. He's done,
Oh, you're so
there's another one
right.
too. It's like every, he did, was it Journey
Journey to the
Return
Center of
Jungle?
the Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very jungle elements in it. Like it
It
seems
is,
like
it's in a
every fucking movie he does, he's in a jungle. Like, is he like, I want you guys sweating as much as I am when I'm lifting these weights?
He just tells his agent, this movie needs to have a jungle in it, and I'll sign it.
Or I'm not doing it.
He's like, hey, Dwayne Johnson, they want you for Star Wars. Are we going to Endor? No. Hangs up straight away. Nah, it's jungle or nothing. Like, I want to be surrounded by fellow rocks in order to do this.
He has to be the best rock on screen at all times. So yeah, that could be a thing.
How does his character in this movie get 6 meals a day in?
Great. Well, we're allowed spoilers. So
yeah, we can do spoilers here.
So, I mean, you know what? You do make a good point. Like, because he's so buff and heroic, he can't just be a Jungle Cruise operator. That just is simply... It's too obvious that he's not.
But also, I can't relate to him. He doesn't look like a human being.
Yeah.
Like you know, when was the last time you went on a little cruise and the Incredible Hulk drove your boat?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Have you ever been on, I don't know, a little bus ride just down to the train station and it just turns out that a fucking mountain is driving the bus? No, it doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't hire him for the job. He can't fit in the seat.
You would get on the bus and you'd be like, you know what? I'm going to get off because there's going to be some sort of action sequence that happens 5 minutes from now. Because
he's going to weigh down the bus and it's just going to flip.
100%.
He's got too many muscles. Cut down on my muscle, chef.
You make a good point. I think that's actually pretty accurate. It turns out. Wait, no, go. What were you going to say?
Again, just hire one of the Chris's. Like he's just he's just being a cowboy. He's doing another Han Solo.
I know, but then,
I'm fucking breaking my shit over here.
That rock charisma is its own thing, and it always works. He's just so charming, and he is funny, and he can be sarcastic, which I really appreciate. But Jesse, are you going to watch this? Do you care? Like if we spoil it for you?
No, okay. Just spoil it.
So you want to know how he's so muscular? Adrianne?
Yes.
Let it rip.
Take steroids.
How do they justify it?
Actually?
It's a Lance Armstrong situation. No, he actually
in the third act, it's like just for 2 hours. He just starts injecting.
Yeah, that's
it's
it.
Like, this is a kid's film.
That was the original script.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally.
Why is he so muscular? Adrianne, reveal right now.
I'm pretty sure he's about 400 years old, and
I like how they make up an excuse for this, for his character.
Yeah. Before he so he got caught up in a curse because he was part of a pirate.
So he's not a human being.
Oh no!
He's an immortal rock god or some shit.
He's an immortal rock and an immortal boulder, and he managed to sort of break. He carries the curse with him, but he's broken away from his crew who are still sort of frozen before they get unlocked, for lack of better words. I don't know why I said that. It's very 2021, but so he's been stuck doing these cruise things, and he's sort of the curse needs to be broken for him to become human again. And it's almost exactly the fucking same as the Mummy, because Imhotep has been cursed, also an immortal being who needs the Book of the Dead to be unlocked to, unleash his power.
They took Rick O'Connell and they're like, make him Imhotep.
Basically, that's pretty much it.
Because Dwayne Johnson has to always swing his dick to be a little bit bigger than everybody. So it's like, oh, okay, you want me to drive a little cruise ship? That's cool. But I also want to be an immortal rock god. What do you mean an immortal rock god? Yeah, I want to be a literal god. I want to be Maui again, basically.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, on that note, the only reason he's doing Black Adam is because he gets to kill like half the Justice League. Those, what are they called? Or Justice League of Society, what are they called? And that, like, they introduced like 20 superheroes that, you know what? We'll talk about that when the trailer drops. But, look, Emily Blunt was fantastic in this. She is MVP in my opinion.
She's always fantastic.
She's great.
She is. And she does a really great impersonation of Evie from The Mummy because it's basically exactly who she is.
Yes.
I do think Edgar Ramirez is, Jack Whitehall.
Jack Whitehall's the brother, and Ramirez is the emo tip.
Right, yeah. Look, he was okay, but Jack Whitehall was actually really funny. I never seen him in anything before, I don't think. He took me by surprise. His little emotional moment I thought was unexpected. Like, I didn't expect them to dive in that direction, even if it's just for a scene, but it really built his character, and I'm like, oh shit, like, I have to admit, as much shit as I'm giving it, it's an incredible script. Like, it's so tight. Like, I'm not saying it's going to change everyone's lives, but I mean, like, if you were to, like, rate, like, by the Disney scale scripts, this script is 10 out of 10. It's solid. It ticks every box, and it ticks it well. It's not, like, half-assed at ticking. It's,
I reckon we could get a trilogy out of it, too, because it absolutely works.
That's probably the plan. That is probably the plan. Let's be real. And I think, you know, the bad guy, even though he felt like a little bit of a Pirates of the Caribbean ripoff, he did a good job. Paul Giamatti is in it for a little bit, and he's pretty funny. Like, I thought Paul Giamatti was pretty great, actually.
Also,
all around, this is a easy recommend. It's a very fun movie, and the jokes pretty much always land. They're pretty good. Just again, like, Dwayne Johnson's great, and I know he's a producer in this film, and he worked really hard. But, like, I low-key wish he was played by someone else. But I still love him. It's just,
he's still great.
Stop trying to, it's just,
don't fight it, just accept it.
Stick your lane. You're muscular, play believably muscular. I don't know, just.
Really? He should have broken
what I like about the film, every time he turns, it should have broken. That being said, they do address it. Like, there's a lot of jokes. They're like, wow, you're big. You're huge. And every time I heard someone say that, I'd be like, I agree. Why is he in this movie? He's too big. Everyone around him looks like ants. It's like you cast Godzilla next to one of the babies from Rugrats.
Oh my god, that's actually that's pretty good. It's brutal, but it's good. Also, really randomly, I could go on this forever. Randomly, I watched it with my family, and my sister and I. One of our favorite childhood movies is Like Mike, and Jesse Plemons. I don't know if you remember that movie, but Jesse Plemons, who's sort of like the villain, one of the villains as well in Jungle Cruise, played the little shithead bully kid in Like Mike, and we were like, "Oh my god, it's that guy!" That was a really fun surprise.
That's right. We're this much talking about it. I'm so busy distracted by laughing at Dwayne's biceps that I almost forgot Jesse Plemons is the bad guy.
Yeah.
And Jesse Plemons, like, I feel like, you know, he played a very generic bad guy in this movie, but Jesse Plemons is good in everything. Like, even when he's given a generic role, he's still pretty good. Like,
so good. You want to punch him in the face so hard in this movie. Like, every time
he's so
on
good
screen.
at being punchable.
Yes.
But he's also like, I don't know.
He plays Todd in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Like, him in El Camino, holy shit. And
he's fucking great.
He's great in Game Night too.
Yes. I loved him in that. That's probably my favorite thing I've seen him in. So good.
So yeah. Anyways, anything else before we move on?
That's it.
All right. Next up, Jesse.
Yes.
You saw Nicolas Cage's Pig, and
I did.
You put a little trailer out on our social channels. By the way, guys, you should follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere else you get your social media. We post these amazing clips. They are so amazing. They will change your life. They're that good. Have you liked us yet? Are you following us yet? Great. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's a lot of work editing the videos, so please, for the love of God, subscribe to our YouTube channel. But yeah, coming back to Jesse, and you revealed, as people who've seen the clip and seen, you were very mixed on this one. Tell us all about your experience with Pig.
I said in that same clip that it was like one of those movies that I had to like I needed a few days to like kind of marinate on it, if that makes sense, and think about it. And it's a really really good film. Like End of the Line is like it's a very good film. It's been getting like 9 out of 10s on like critic scores and user scores and stuff like that. I don't know if I'd rate it that high, but it's still a very good film, and I'd still recommend people go and watch it. So basically, it's about Nicolas Cage. He plays this character called Robin Feld, I think his name is. And you don't know a lot about him at the start. He's basically lives in the Oregon wilderness outside of Portland. He lives like in this like little rundown shack. He looks like his hair's overgrown. He looks, disheveled, and he owns this like little pig. And basically, his whole thing is he goes out into like the forest that he lives in, and he picks out truffles and sells them to Alex Wolff, who's sort of like the front for like a bunch of restaurants, because apparently truffles are like a big thing in fine dining restaurants or something like that. I don't go to a lot of fine dining restaurants. So, and anyway, so Nicolas Cage, someone steals his pig, and basically the rest of the film is he's trying to find out where his pig has gone. Now, a lot of people are like try to compare it to like John Wick. It's nothing like John Wick. Like, yeah,
that
like
was
in John
my question.
Wick, he steals a dog in John Wick. In this one, they steal a pig. But it's not like Nicolas Cage is running around with like guns and knives and killing a whole bunch of people and where's my pig, like kind of thing. It's a like a very like melancholy kind of like deep reflection on grief and loss. Because in the film you find out, I don't know if this is. It's kind of implied because when as the film rolls on and he meets more characters, because he kind of goes around with Alex Wolff, and they kind of who's really good, and so is Nicolas Cage. Like they both nail it out of the park.
Amazing.
Alex Wolff is excellent. I love him.
They go around and try and find out what happened to his pig, and they go through a lot of weird situations. Like at one point they go to this restaurant, and they go to this like underground area where these cooks and chefs do like a fight club kind of thing, which is quite interesting, quite weird, but quite interesting. And basically the whole film is you find out more and more about Nicolas Cage's character and who his character is. And that's what I really liked. You kind of find out a bit more, and you find out he was like this big chef at a restaurant back in the day. And it's kind of implied that because he's a widow, his character's a widow, it's kind of implied that he moved off into the wilderness for that reason. And there's this whole thing with a cassette where he puts a cassette tape in, and it's his wife, and he can't listen to the whole thing at first, but then at the end of the film he's able to listen to the whole thing, and it's just like this whole big reflection on grief and loss, and it's quite sad. And then you find out, are you guys going to see it? Can I just spoil it? Or
yeah. I'll
allow
it.
So basically, Alex Wolff's dad, who's like this big head honcho restauranteur, prissy rich dude, basically had the pig stolen, and the pig kind of dies. And like when Nick Cage finds out, he's just broken down, because it's kind of like the only thing he's got left in his life. He doesn't have pretty much anything else. So yeah, it's quite sad. But there's like a little glimmer of hope at the end when he plays his wife's cassette, and Nick Cage is really really good in it. And the thing about Nick Cage is like you've got wild man Nick Cage, and then you got subtle Nick Cage. And I don't have a problem with wild man Nick Cage. Like I think the last Nick Cage movie I saw was Mandy. I don't know if you guys have seen Mandy.
Yeah.
Crazy movie.
So at Sydney Underground Film Festival. Oh my God. That movie, if I can just quickly say, the first half of it, people were walking out. People like kind of fuck this movie. It was because it was so weird and experimental and slow. And I was kind of, my mate, like, kind of like, should we go? And then like when it changes halfway through and becomes a completely different movie, it's like, oh fuck yeah. And it gives you that crazy Nick Cage that I think we fall in love with.
Well, it's that scene in the bathroom that he just goes insane. Yeah. Well, there's nothing like that in Pig. In Pig, he barely even talks in Pig. Like, he's very, like, subtle, and he did a really good job. Like, he's a good actor. Like, I know people are giving shit because of his over-the-top performances in some movies. And I know he's done a lot of shit films because he had tax problems and he bought a whole bunch of random shit that he probably didn't need. But this one's really good. It's a really good film. As I said, I wouldn't say I loved it, but it was really good. It was just a little bit slow for me in some spots. Even though it's only like a 90-minute film, and I don't think it grabbed me as much as it probably did other people that rated it gave it like a 10 out of 10. But it's still, I still recommend people go see it. But just know it's not Nick Cage running around with guns and knives and killing a whole bunch of people. It's just a very deep, somber reflection on grief and loss. And there's one scene I got to talk about. There's one scene in the film where Nick Cage and Alex Wolff are sitting down at a restaurant. It's a restaurant that I can't remember if it's he owned it or he knows the head chef at this restaurant, and he sits this head chef down. This head chef's kind of a bit like nervous and twitchy or whatever. Like he's not like he doesn't have self-confidence. And Nick Cage, like he's trying to find his pig and he thinks he knows where this guy might know where his pig might be, and he just tears shreds of this guy because he used to know this guy like back when he was a big chef, and he just tears shreds of him, saying, you really wanted to do an English pub. What is this? Why are you running this? These people in your fine dining restaurant, they don't give a shit about you, and just tears shreds of this dude. And this dude's just like, his like facial expression just like drops, and he's just like, it's just like it was a really good scene, and it's probably one of the scenes where Nick Cage talks the most throughout the whole movie. So I mean that's like, and Alex Wolff, like there's a scene where and Alex Wolff is kind of like, he's trying to like be this big suave, businessman type like his father. He drives this really flashy sports car in the movie, but again, he's a character that doesn't have that self-confidence in himself. Like there's a scene where he's like, he's talking in a mirror and he's trying to pump himself up, give him like, the salesman professional prep talk, and the scene just cuts in mid-sentence because it's like the film just does not have time to listen to his character speaking. So yeah, I mean, I overall it's a good film. So, and it's a directorial debut from this guy. I can't remember his name, but so
I'll definitely
I love it
check
when
it
like
out.
I love it when like a director or editor like throws in that little bit of personality in there, or maybe it's even the writer, like they'll do things like that. That's always a cool thing. I'll give myself another shout out. I interviewed back on the old format of the podcast. We will have interviews on this podcast too, ladies and gentlemen. Keep hanging around for that. But I interviewed the director of Willy's Wonderland, which started Nicolas Cage as well. And one thing we talked about was creating a strong, silent protagonist, which is the same sort of idea. It's like doing a character with very little dialogue, and I imagine he probably drew from that. Although this is a very different film. That was a very silly one. This is a very more serious one. I feel like maybe what Nick does nowadays, he's gotten a lot smarter, I think, with picking his projects.
Yeah.
And I think he knows his strengths, and he often picks them based around, what can I use to showcase this element?
Yeah.
And he's getting really good at that. Like, so yeah, I'm keen to check out Pig.
He's done some good films lately. Like, but as I said, like he had that period of time where he's just doing a bunch of trash it kind of just feels like because he had all those tax problems back in the 2000s, and he just bought a whole bunch of shit that he didn't need. But
I feel like he went through a similar scenario, probably not the same as Brendan Fraser. But unfortunately, while Nick dived into a lot of shit films, I think Brendan just went through like serious depression, and it's actually sad looking at him now because like he's getting into bigger films now. He just got cast in Batgirl, and it's really exciting. But like you see him in these interviews, and he just still seems like something's broken on the inside, and I just want to give him a hug. It's like, dude, we love you so much.
I wanted to say though, with Nick Cage, I feel like no matter what the film, whether it's as crazy as like Willy's Wonderland or he's being subtle in something like Pig, he is magnetic, and you just can't ever take your eyes off him when he's on screen. So like even if you're like, I can't believe what he's doing, or wow, he's really reeling me in. He is, he was really born to do it.
I was just gonna say, as I said, like I'd recommend people watch it, but just know it's not a fast-paced action thing. It's a very slow look on and very deep emotional look on grief and loss. That's it.
It's not Pigwick.
No,
It's,
it's definitely
Pigwick.
not. Do not expect that.
No, John Nick. No, there's a better pun in there somewhere. We'll find it. That's all right. Look, for now, let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, we know Halloween Kills come out this week. We'll cover it in the next episode. We can't see everything. But here's a film that everyone can watch because it's on Netflix. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal. Have I got your attention yet? This movie is called The Guilty. This film, for those who haven't seen it, before we get into it, I'll warn you. It takes place mostly in one room. It is about. Let me read out the description here on IMDb. The synopsis: a demoted police officer assigned to call dispatch. So let me go again. Take two. A demoted police officer assigned to a call dispatch desk is conflicted when he receives an emergency phone call from a kidnapped woman. So he's on the phone pretty much the whole movie, kind of like phone booth, I guess, talking to a woman who claims to be kidnapped. And you might think, didn't like, what's his name? The Plane movie starring Jason Gordon-Levitt. Similar sort of idea, but this movie is an incredible performance. And fuck it, I'll just get into my thoughts straight away instead of passing off to one of you schmucks. The most amazing thing
Thanks,
about
Matthew.
this, yeah, you know, I gotta like, I can't let your egos get too big, so I gotta cut you down a leg every now and then. No, I'm kidding. I love you guys. The most amazing thing about The Guilty, in my opinion, is how the writing is able to keep you invested and engaged at all times. Very early on watching this film, I was like, it takes place all pretty much within the same room. I'm going to get bored fast. I wasn't bored for a single second. Every scene goes for just the right amount of length and has just the right amount of twists and clues and hints that it kept me engaged the whole time. I was and that constantly surprised me. I was surprised at how interested I was because they did such a great job of keeping me engaged. I think it was really good writing. From my understanding, this is based off a foreign film.
Yeah, it's a European film. I think it's a Danish film. I think I could be wrong. But
I know nothing about that. Other than I've seen some people say the original was better, but I think no matter what, everyone's always going to say the original was better with everything. You know, the books were better, the show was better, the poem was better, the thing I imagined in my head, which never existed when I was a child, was better. It's always something's better. So, but for me, watching this film, this experience, this is an incredible performance with Jake Gyllenhaal. Really well directed. Really great pacing. There's not really a lot to say because there aren't a lot of stuff that goes on, but there are some twists that I didn't see coming, and I'm usually pretty good. I like to think I'm pretty good picking them out, but there was a moment where I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I never saw like that's a really good twist, and when you get those moments, it's a good feeling when a movie can pull that off. So. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. Shout outs to The Guilty. If you want, if you've got an hour and a half to spend on Netflix and you want to watch something, give it a watch. It's just be prepared. It's not going to be a million explosions and stuff. You don't see much other than seeing Jake Gyllenhaal on a phone, but it's surprisingly still very entertaining. Let me pass it off to Jesse.
Yes.
Jesse, do you have anything to add on that? Any thoughts, comments?
I also did really enjoy it. I wouldn't say though it's the best like one person location type film I've seen. Probably my favorite one probably have to be Lock with Tom Hardy. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. I think that's probably my favorite one because that was so effective. But this one's also really good. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think I mentioned in the previous podcast that Nick Pizzolatto did the screenplay for this, like the adaptation of the European film, and I'm a huge fan of his. Like I love True Detective and Galveston and all the other stuff he's done. But from what I understand though, from what other people have said, because I haven't seen the European version, but I've heard this is not that different to the European version. There's only a couple of different changes.
Like a shot-for-shot remake type thing.
I don't know if it's a shot-for-shot, but I think it's just like story-wise. There's not that many changes, only a couple, besides the obvious location that it's LA and so, and not Denmark. So, but yeah, like, look, just basing it off, just seeing it without seeing the European version, I thought it was a really good film, and kept me captivated and engaged, and it was a lot of stuff that happened that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting the wife to be the one that was like kind of the actual, I don't want to say bad person, but like,
yeah, the whole situation is very different to what you'd expect.
Yeah, pretty much. You expect it's just the
and
husband.
That reveal, yeah, and like what I think they did a good job of is if you go back, you can see the clues were laid out there. But I think in this day and age, we always assume, you hear a guy yelling at a woman, you assume it's probably some domestic case, So I think that was done really well. Yeah, 80. Do you have anything to add onto that?
I thought it was really great. Like I said earlier, he could play a potato, and I will still happily pay even double the price of the ticket to watch it because it's Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's just amazing. I actually really look forward to one location films. I think they're really cool when they are pulled off so brilliantly, because that is just pure talent. That's just amazing writing. Probably my couple of like ones I would maybe compare it to, because it is one location, would be something like Alien and Reservoir Dogs. They're really great examples where you are intrigued the entire time. You actually sort of just forget that you're in one thing. You feel like you are then right there with that character the whole film. So when I came out of The Guilty, I felt like I needed a solid breather, because it was like I was on that phone call the whole time as well. It's so much more than just that. Like, he's struggling internally on so many levels, because, he just wants to do his stupid job and get it over with so he can focus on, a failing marriage and a kid at home that he obviously hasn't seen for a while. And then when this comes up...
court case the next day.
Exactly.
The court case the next day as well. Yeah.
That's right. And then when the call comes through, it's almost... I felt like it was a way of him trying to fix this for this woman, because he can't fix what he has to with his own child. That's where I went emotionally with his character, and that made me more invested throughout the whole ride. And that twist absolutely got me. It made me feel sick, sick and sad. It was so unexpected. So I really, really liked it.
Yeah, something we haven't really touched on much, and we don't have to really get into it, but the ending, which I kind of don't want to spoil too much, but you kind of find out why it's called The Guilty in that last scene. Because throughout it, there is a ongoing plot thread, which is they purposely keep mysterious about something's going on the next day. It got me thinking. I know this is like a hot topic with police brutality and stuff, and I was trying to think to myself, is this
too on the nose?
First of all, like, I don't, like, it's a bit on the nose. It's a little preachy. Like, I don't know, because I don't know how realistic it would be for someone to come to the conclusion that he did, that instead of choosing to save himself, he would want to become a martyr, well, not a martyr, but like an example. Like, they literally let himself become set as an example of what not to do. I don't know, but I think Jake did a good job of making it believable. I don't know if I find it hard to believe in real life someone would be willing to
do that.
I don't know. I like to think the world's about a good place. I like to think that is the case. I think most people come down to like a fight or flight response, and yeah, but we know. I don't know. We'll see.
I think in a way it was him sort of maybe just ultimately redeeming himself for all of the wrongs. He was really, really, I don't know, just down and out. And I think once he had experienced that call, it just flicked a switch in him, and he went, I can't, I don't know.
Yeah, I think regardless of anything, the script does a good job of tying in this personal struggle he's got going on with this current obstacle he's got. And I think that comes together really well. Overall, like I'm sort of realizing now, well, this is the movie we all three of us have seen. It's one of the most difficult to talk about because there's not a lot of characters, there's not a lot of elements to the story, but it's a great film all around. I think we're all in agreement, and it's definitely worth a watch. Any other comments, thoughts, anything before we move on, before we close things up today?
Don't think I have anything else.
Off my head. It's been a really exciting week for trailers and everything. So
yeah. Look, I'll end on this. Something that I forgot to mention in the what we've been watching. I watched half of the pilot episode of I Know What You Did Last Summer on Amazon Prime. And guys, I gotta let you know, halfway through the episode, I immediately knew that it was fucking trash. It is shit. It is garbage. It is whack. It is lame. If you like this show, I question your taste in television shows. It is like the MTV Scream series if they tried less. It is.
Oh my god.
It is a big no thank you. Scrunch it up. Throw it in the bin. It feels like a bunch of 70-year-old white dudes thinking, what are the kids like these days? Oh, they like their TikToks. Make them do a TikTok dance. And then give them a gay friend. And then what else do the kids like these days? It just feels so like, it's like, it just feels like
Trash.
a bunch of people going, like, what are 13-year-olds on TikTok like? And look, maybe if you're a 13-year-old who loves TikTok, maybe you'll like this show. But it is, in my opinion, fucking lame. And I look at it like, who did you make this show for? Like, it's
Teens.
clearly not for the original fans of the show. Maybe it's for teens, but I think teens are smarter than this.
Just make a new one then. Like, if you're going to piggyback off of a title that, you know, could capture a whole generation of people, and why would you fuck it up so bad?
Like, they are keeping true to the original concept loosely, but the original concept was barely a concept.
Yeah.
Did you guys like the original film or?
Yeah, I didn't mind them.
It's been so long, I can barely remember it. But I do remember thinking the sickle was a cool, like, weapon for the killer. I remember thinking, you know, I have better memories of the parts that ripped out to put into a scary movie than I do the original.
Yeah.
The sequels, I do not. I've seen them, but I don't remember a single thing. All I remember is that wasn't Jack Black in one of them? Like one of his first roles, I think. Was in one of them?
In the early days, I'm pretty sure.
I think it was the first one. Oh, maybe the second one. But yeah, have you seen the original, Jesse?
I think I saw like half of it and then I turned it off.
Yeah, I just that's how I felt about this. It's like it's not made for me. I know it's not made for me. Also, like there was a scene early on I was watching with my girlfriend, and there's a conversation between two twins, and she looks like, and she like sort of like sits up and she goes, "That's the same actor." I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's like that's not two different actors. They're just cutting back and forth between the same girl. And then once I just realized it's the same girl with different haircuts,
Oh my
it's
god.
like I get it. They're not the first people to do it, but it just felt so cheap. And just look, if you like this show, good for you. But it's a big no thanks for me. It starts on the most pretentious monologue sequence, which is like it's a shit cheap show trying to pretend it's not a cheap shit show. Mm-hmm. It's like just embrace
it's a trash bag and a
trashiness.
Gucci belt.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good way to call that. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. I saw half the episode. I thought it was garbage.
You need to vent.
That's me. That's me using my platform for the good, for the greater good.
Well, it's safe to say now that I do not want to know what anyone did last summer. I don't think I'm going to be watching that.
Oh,
That was a bit of a reach. That's a bit of a reach, but I'll allow it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for us today on upcoming attractions. Adrianne, if people want more, if they want to consume our content on their mobile telephone device, where's the best place they can go to consume that content?
You can go to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube at Upcoming Attractions. And you can find us on all of the podcast streaming services you can think of,
TikTok.
like
What
Spotify.
TikTok?
Oh, yes, and TikTok as well. Oh, I love TikTok so much. But yep, Spotify, iTunes, give us a rating as well. Follow, like, subscribe, send us a message. Tell us what you hate, what you disagree with, what you like, what you do agree with. We're here. We're open to all the conversations.
Yeah. Just to be clear, on Twitter, it's at upcomingpod because we can't fit in everything there. And then on TikTok, is it full upcoming attractions?
It's upcoming attractions.
Yeah, and on everything else, it's upcoming attractions.
Yes.
While you're at it, check us out on YouTube. They're more than just audio versions that you can hear on your favorite podcast apps. You can also watch our beautiful-ish faces. And yeah, you can just give us a subscribe at Upcoming Attractions Podcast. We really do appreciate it. We are really hoping we've set a little task between us. We're trying to hit 100 Instagram followers by the end of this week, and we want to be over 100 subscribers on YouTube by the end of this week. And we're actually pretty close to that. Maybe by the time this drops, we already would have achieved that. But if you can just do it anyways, you'd be really helping out the show. We'd really appreciate it. We'd really love you. And we already do love you, but that would be great. Jesse, you have a segment to say, but Adrianne just kind of stole it.
I'm so
sorry. Do you have anything else? Is there anything you'd like to say to the listeners at home?
I hope everyone's day is going well.
Oh,
thank you.
That's lovely.
That's nice. We're still mastering the outro, ladies and gentlemen. But like we said, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and on each platform there are more video clips that you can see and you can shake a feather at. We work hard to edit these and make them fancy. We don't work hard on editing this because I'm going to leave all that in. So that's it for us today. At Upcoming Attractions. I'm Matt, it's Adrianne and Jesse. We love you very much. Laters.